Those Better Not Be the Days is a really fun Full House episode. This is the 19th episode of the third season. It's directed by Bill Foster. And as always, there will be spoilers from now as I talk about what happens in this episode. And it starts off with Jessie teaching Michelle the left from the right. And this is beautifully written and the exchange is lovely and very funny. And Michelle in particular, I don't know how many takes this took or if they had to stop and start, but she's saying a lot of the same thing. She's saying left and right quite frequently, and I imagine for a child of that age, it could be very easy to mess that up, and I think she did a wonderful job. Again, it could have taken a lot of takes, I've no idea, but it was really delightful. We then cut to the scene after the intro, and the girls are all getting ready to go to the amusement park with Kimmy, and DJ and Joey and Jessie have helped them get everything organised, and not once do they say thank you for any of these things. And they're about to leave and they come back in pretty quickly because it's pouring down with rain. And immediately the girls start demanding that they make other plans. They demand that Danny takes them to the movie theatre, takes DJ and Kimmy, and Stephanie decides that Jessie and Becky are going to have their picnic in her bedroom so she can join in on the fun. Kimmy is also there. Her mother has grounded her at the Tanner's house, which I thought was pretty entertaining. And the girls are just completely demanding. And Danny, Jessie, and Joey realise that something needs to be done about this. So Danny comes up with a plan, and I rather like this. He decides that the girls are going to be in charge. But there's a caveat. They have to treat Danny, Joey, and Jessie as if they're children. And that means looking after them and doing things for them the way that they do for the girls. And obviously the point here is that they're going to get a taste of their own medicine. They're going to see what it feels like to be constantly running around after people. And more importantly, what it feels like to do that without ever being told thank you. And I think the girls did what I think is what anybody would do in that situation. And they gather all of the sweet food in the house and decide to, in their words, pig out on all of the food. I definitely think that that's what I would have done as a child at that age as well. And they don't seem to realise what's happening. Joey then tells them it's lunchtime and DJ says, no, we're having dessert. But then Joey explains, no, you need to make lunch for us children. And this is when things get interesting. And I would have liked to have seen more of this. That's my only one, not really a criticism of the episode, but one thing that I would have liked to have seen done a bit differently is that we don't get to see too much of the children as adults and the adults as children. We do get the scene where they're making sandwiches for the boys and they all have complaints about using the wrong kind of jam or jelly and the wrong kind of peanut butter, and there's a delightful moment where DJ eats the corners off of a sandwich. Sounds boring, funnier than it sounds. And that I thought was really fun and really entertaining. I loved the boys playing up to this. They were clearly having fun with this and also pushing it to try and get the girls to realise what was going on. And I would have liked to have seen other scenarios where the boys behaved like children. I think that could have been really fun. And I think I would have liked less of the flash forward if we'd taken time from that, and I'll talk about that in a moment, and used that time to show other scenarios where the boys were acting like children. I personally would have preferred that. I think the scene in the kitchen was really fabulous. And DJ actually sends the boys to their rooms because they're being so fussy and making them remake their sandwiches. And I don't think that was the right approach. Just as an adult, I don't think you should send your child to the room or to their rooms unless they're being really disruptive. I feel like they should have been sent to their room if they refused to eat the sandwiches, but they never had a chance to get to that part. But nevertheless, this is what happens, and the boys realise the lesson isn't sinking in, and that they're going to be living with them, demanding forever. And then we have the flash forward. And this is kind of interesting, having now watched Fuller House, because that is ostensibly what is playing out here, but kind of differently. But we have the kids as adults still living in this house. It's not exactly like Fuller House, obviously, but it's just definitely interesting to see. And we basically see the boys and Becky as much older adults, and then we get to see the girls as adults. And I think the performances there, particularly for the adult girls were great, particularly for Kimmy and Michelle. Michelle was played by Jayne Modean and Kimmy was played by Rhonda Shear. We also have Julie Montgomery and Melanie Vincz as Stephanie and DJ, and I think they all gave really good performances. That was good fun to see, but I just feel like they could have made that a little bit shorter, a little bit quicker. Maybe it's personal preference, but I definitely would have rather used that time, as I said, to see the boys pretending to be children. Once we get the flash forward over and done with, they are about to confront the girls. The girls actually realise that Jessie and Danny had snuck down to Joey's basement bedroom and they're about to give them into trouble. And they finally realise, DJ is the one who realises that the guys did all of these things for them and they never said thank you. And they do. DJ and Stephanie ultimately thank them for everything they did. And it's a really sweet moment and lesson learned. And I think that this is a huge takeaway for anybody watching this episode, that you need to be aware of how you treat other people. DJ and Stephanie don't mean to make Danny, Jessie and Joey run around after them. They don't mean to be demanding and bossy and dictate everything. But when it's something that they've kind of become used to, it's harder to see that they're actually doing that. And I feel like anybody watching this should take a moment to assess whether they're treating people, particularly people they love, people they're close to, in the way that they themselves would want to be treated. So yes, absolutely a brilliant narrative for younger people, maybe questioning how they treat their parents. And also, I think, a good tactic for parents. I think any child would love to be in charge for the day. And I think it's tremendous fun to see parents acting like their children. I absolutely adore it. And it played out really well. And as I said, would have liked to have seen more of it. But definitely for older viewers as well, I think there are some really important takeaways. And ultimately, it's a great episode. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Those Better Not Be the Days is certainly a really fun and definitely very thought-provoking episode.